The drums thundered. Villagers clapped loudly. Today was different. Today, happiness was real. Adana walked hand in hand with Kunle, her eyes bright, heart racing. She wore a beautiful white dress, soft as clouds. Her stepmother watched bitterly, from afar, lips tight, eyes burning with envy. Adana didn't care. Today, nothing could hurt her. Kunle leaned close, whispering softly, "From now, our life begins anew." His gentle voice made her heart calm. She glanced at little Obi, barely 1 year old, smiling happily in Ada's arms. Obi reached for her, laughing brightly. Adana felt tears, this time of joy. The priest blessed them. Villagers cheered. But some whispered quietly, jealous eyes, sharp as knives. "How can she marry a billionaire after her shameful past?" one murmured. Ada squeezed Adana's hand gently. "Ignore them. You deserve this." That night, Kunle drove her to the city. 4 shiny black cars followed. Adana gasped, eyes wide. She had never imagined this luxury. Lights, noise, endless buildings. Kunle smiled warmly. "Welcome home, Adana." His mansion was huge, white marble, bright lights. Servants opened doors, bowing deeply. Adana felt dizzy. Was this really her life now? Days passed quickly. Adana tasted happiness for the first time. Luxury dinners, soft dresses, peaceful nights. Kunle treated her with kindness, gentle respect. She watched him hold Obi tenderly, eyes warm. Her heart felt safe, finally. One evening they sat high above the city, lights sparkling below like stars. Obi slept gently beside them, tiny breaths peaceful. Kunle took her hand softly. "You've brought peace to my chaotic life, Adana." She smiled shyly. "No, Kunle. You gave me freedom. You protected my dignity." He shook his head gently, eyes serious. Together, we healed. Weeks later, Kunle hosted a grand party. Rich guests laughed and danced, glasses clinking cheerfully. Adana stood nervously, holding Obi tightly. The loud voices, expensive clothes. It felt overwhelming. Suddenly, a guest whispered loudly, eyes narrow with suspicion. "Do you really think Kunle loves her? Or is she just another pretty face?" Adana's chest tightened painfully. Before tears could come, Kunle appeared calmly, placing an arm protectively around her waist. "My wife and child deserve your respect," he said coldly. Silence filled the room. The guest apologized quickly, embarrassed. Adana glanced at Kunle gratefully, his eyes softened, gentle again. Later that night, Adana lay awake, heart unsettled. Kunle sensed her worry. "Don't fear their words," he whispered. "My love is real. Our life is real." She touched Obi's soft cheek, comforted by his innocent warmth. "I believe you." Kunle gently kissed her forehead. "Rest now, my love. Tomorrow brings more happiness." Adana closed her eyes, heart finally calm. Maybe her pain was truly gone now. But happiness often comes at a price, and secrets never stay hidden. Soon, Adana would realize peace is fragile, luxury dangerous, and trust easily broken. Her fairy tale was about to shatter. The mansion glowed, brightly, filled with laughter and clinking glasses. Kunle's wealthy friends wore shimmering clothes, smiled easily, chatted loudly. Adana stood beside Kunle, feeling both proud and shy. She held Obi tightly, gently kissing his cheek. Tonight was special. Tonight their family celebrated success. Suddenly, loud footsteps echoed through the hall. Everyone turned sharply. A stunning woman appeared, dressed in sparkling gold, eyes fierce and angry. Her beauty was intense, but cold. She stared directly at Kunle, her voice shaking with fury. "Kunle, you betrayed me! You took everything from me!" The room froze. Guests whispered nervously, eyes darting between Kunle and the mysterious woman. Adana's heart raced wildly. She felt dizzy, confused. "Who is this woman?" She whispered nervously. Kunle's face darkened, voice firm. "Chioma, leave immediately. You're embarrassing yourself." Chioma laughed bitterly, stepping closer. "Me? Embarrassed? You stole my family's wealth, Kunle. You tricked us with lies and fake promises." Gasps filled the air. People exchanged shocked glances. Adana felt weak, cheeks burning with shame. Obi squirmed restlessly, sensing tension. Kunle raised his voice angrily, eyes hard. "Chioma lies. Everything I have I earned honestly. My wealth is mine alone." Chioma's voice rose louder, eyes full of tears and anger. "Tell them, Kunle. Tell your innocent wife how you betrayed me. Tell her how you pretended love to steal from my family." Kunle stepped forward sharply, voice shaking with fury. "Enough! Guards, remove her now." Adana's vision blurred, panic twisting her stomach painfully. She stared at Kunle, confusion clouding her mind. "Kunle, is this true?" He faced her quickly, eyes softer, pleading. "Adana, please trust me. She's lying." Chioma turned dramatically toward Adana, voice clear, cold. "Be careful, Adana. Soon you'll see the truth. Kunle is not the man you think he is." She spun sharply, walking out confidently, guests murmuring loudly behind her. Silence followed. Adana held Obi tighter, feeling every eye on her. She looked at Kunle, tears filling her eyes. What was that? Kunle tried touching her arm gently. "Please, Adana, not here. Believe me." Adana pulled back instinctively, fear sharp in her heart. "Did you love her, Kunle? Did you really take money from her?" He shook his head firmly, eyes desperate. "Never. She's jealous, bitter. She wants revenge because I chose you." Guests began whispering louder, suspicious, glances darting toward them. Adana felt small, humiliated. Her happy night crumbled quickly into painful chaos. Ada appeared swiftly, worried eyes searching Adana's face. "Let's get you away from here." Adana nodded weakly, following Ada quickly. Behind her, Kunle stood helpless, guests staring, judging silently. In a quiet room, Ada hugged her gently. "Don't cry, Adana. Maybe there's a misunderstanding." Adana's heart sank deeper, confused, broken. Could Kunle, the man who protected her dignity, really be a fraud? Outside, the party continued awkwardly, filled with quiet gossip, suspicion thickening in the air. Tonight, secrets had begun unraveling. The city was loud, but Adana only heard whispers. Every morning, fresh newspapers screamed headlines about Kunle's scandal. "Billionaire fraud. Ex-fiancé speaks out." Gossip columns showed pictures of Chioma's tearful face and Kunle's cold expression. Adana's hands trembled as she folded the paper away. Outside, neighbors glanced at her mansion with curious, judging eyes. Friends who once smiled now avoided her calls. The grand gates that once symbolized safety now felt like prison walls. Obi played quietly on the floor, innocent and unaware. Adana watched him, her heart heavy. What if everything was a lie? What kind of future am I giving you? Each room in the mansion felt colder. Kunle was there, but distant, busy on calls, meeting lawyers, shutting down rumors. But none of his words reached Adana's heart anymore. One evening, As rain tapped against the windows, Kunli entered their bedroom softly. His eyes looked tired, his shoulders heavy. "Adana," he began, voice gentle but unsure. She sat by the window staring into the dark streets. "You don't have to say anything," she whispered, her voice cracking. Kunli knelt beside her, taking her hand carefully. "Please believe me. I never betrayed you." Tears filled Adana's eyes. "I trusted you, Kunli. I believed every word. But now, how can I know what's real?" Her voice shook with pain. Kunli's grip tightened, desperation in his eyes. "I can't explain everything yet, but I swear on Obi's life, I'm not the man she says I am." Adana pulled her hand away, standing up quickly. "Words are easy, Kunli. I lived my whole life, surrounded by lies. I don't know if I can survive another." Kunli lowered his head, defeated. "Just give me time," he whispered. That night, when Kunli finally fell asleep on the couch, Adana sat alone in Obi's room, watching her son breathe peacefully. Silent tears ran down her cheeks. How did my dream life turn into this nightmare? She thought. The next morning, Ada arrived unexpectedly, her face full of worry. Adana hugged her tightly, holding back tears. "I don't know what to believe anymore, Ada." Ada sighed deeply, glancing around the mansion. "I've seen how fast wealth can turn into a weapon. Rich people's secrets. They destroy everything, in their path." Adana nodded slowly, fear gripping her heart. "I thought Kunli was different." Her voice faded into silence. Ada touched her shoulder gently. "Be careful, my friend. Protect your heart, and protect Obi." That night, Adana stood on the balcony, staring at the city lights. The wind was cold, but not colder than the doubt in her chest. Do I trust the man I love, or believe the truth everyone else sees? She whispered to herself. Her heart knew one thing. She had to choose. Trust her heart, or trust the rumors. The silence between them had grown heavier with each passing day. Words were few, but the distance was loud. That night, Kunle stood by the window, staring into the darkness. His hands trembled, something Adana had never seen before. Finally, he turned around, his eyes glossy, voice low. "Adana, I can't keep this inside anymore." Adana looked up from Obi's crib, her heart pounding. "What is it, Kunle?" she asked carefully. Fear and hope tangled in her voice. Kunle sat down slowly, his shoulders sinking like a man carrying the weight of years. "You deserve the truth, all of it." Adana's breath caught. She sat beside him, silent, waiting. "I wasn't always this man," Kunle began, his voice shaking. "When I was a boy, my father walked out on us, left me and my mother with nothing, no money, no name, just shame." Adana's eyes widened, but she said nothing. "We lived in a broken house." Kunle continued, his gaze distant. "Some nights, we had no food. My mother, she never complained. She just worked harder, suffered quietly so I could survive." A tear slipped down Kunle's cheek. "I hated my father, hated what he did to us, but then..." His voice cracked. "He came back, years later, sick, dying of cancer." Adana placed a gentle hand on his, her heart softening. "He begged for forgiveness," Kunle whispered bitterly. "Said he regretted everything. Before he died, he transferred all his wealth to me, not out of love, but guilt." Kunle looked directly at Adana now, his eyes raw with emotion. "That's how I got my start. But I didn't stop there. I built my empire with my own hands, my own mind. Adana's lips trembled. And Kioma, she asked softly. Kunle sighed deeply. Her family invested in a business deal. It failed, because of their own greed, not because of me. But Kioma, she couldn't accept it. She wanted someone to blame. I walked away from her lies, and she's been bitter ever since. Silence filled the room, only broken by Obi's soft breathing. I never lied to you, Adana, Kunle said firmly, his voice steadier now. I never used you. I never used anyone. Adana felt tears in her eyes, not from pain, but from understanding. She reached for Kunle's hand, gripping it tightly. You should have told me sooner. But I see you now, Kunle. I see your truth. Kunle's face softened for the first time in days. I was afraid you'd look at me differently. Adana shook, her head smiling through her tears. We both survived betrayal, Kunle. That's why we found each other. They sat together in quiet peace, the weight between them finally lifting. But as Adana rested her head on Kunle's shoulder, a thought crept into her mind. Just when she believed all secrets were revealed, the biggest one was still hiding in the shadows. The newspapers changed their tune. Billionaire vindicated. Kunle Afolabi proven innocent. Friends returned. Neighbors smiled again. But Adana knew. Trust rebuilt slowly. Weeks passed, and peace returned. Kunle laughed more. Adana taught Obi how to walk in their garden. They shared quiet dinners, free from fear. We survived, Adana whispered one night, watching Kunle play with Obi. Now, we live in truth, but peace never lasts forever. One sunny afternoon, Kunle sat in his office when his phone rang. He answered casually, but within seconds his face turned pale. His hands shook. Impossible, he whispered, standing up abruptly. Adana noticed, his trembling when he rushed through the door. Kunle, what's wrong? She asked, concern filling her voice. His lips were dry, his voice unsteady. Adana, someone wants to see you, please. Just be calm. Confused and worried, Adana followed him to the living room. Her heart pounded as she stepped inside. An older woman stood there, tall, dignified, but worn by life's hardships. Her eyes were sharp yet filled with deep pain. Her clothes were simple, but her presence was powerful. Adana froze. Who is this? Kunle's voice cracked. Adana, meet my mother. Adana gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Your mother? But you told me she... Her voice faded, unable to finish. The woman stepped forward slowly, her gaze locked on Adana. I am very much alive, she said softly, but her words carried weight. But my son... Her eyes shifted to Kunle, dark with hurt. He abandoned me, just like his father once did. Adana's world spun. Kunle, she whispered, turning to him, searching his face for answers. Kunle couldn't meet her eyes. Shame flooded his expression. I thought keeping her away was protecting her. And myself. His mother's voice cut through the tension. No, Kunle. You were ashamed of me. When you got your wealth, you erased me from your life. Just like your father erased us both. Adana's chest tightened, painfully. The man she defended, the man she trusted. What else was he hiding? Silence filled the room, heavy and suffocating. Kunle finally spoke, his voice barely a whisper. I was going to tell you, but I didn't know how. Adana stepped back slowly, her mind racing. The truth she thought they built their marriage on was cracking. She looked at Obi, playing innocently on the floor, unaware that his family was built on secrets. This revelation changed everything Adana thought she knew about her husband. As Kunli and his mother stood facing each other, Adana's heart pounded with one haunting question. How many more secrets could Kunle hide? The story wasn't over. It had only just begun. Besties, this isn't the end. Kunli's biggest secret is still hidden. Should Adana stay or walk away? Subscribe now and stay tuned for part 3. It will shock you.